All right, everyone, welcome back to another module here in the Academy. Now, I'm actually hoping that this one will be rather brief just because of the nature of the subject that we're covering in this particular module, okay? So as you know, we're talking about client communications, okay? And the reason I'm hoping that this will be rather brief is because client communications is really quite simple and streamlined, especially when you're working with those 5 to 10 first clients and you're just by yourself, okay? Running that $15,000 per month agency, okay? To do this and to communicate with this amount of clients, it's incredibly streamlined, and we just want to make sure that there are no wastes in any processes, right? Because we're a lean agency, and so we don't want to spend too much time on this communication. And so in this module, I'm going to illustrate to you how to very simply manage your communications with your clients, okay? Now, client communication really doesn't start to get intricate and complicated until I'd say you're working with 10 bigger clients whose companies you have, say, 3 or 4 touch points or contact persons in those individual companies, and perhaps you're managing 2 to 3 team members who you have to organize across those clients, right? So you have to organize which one of my team members communicates with this client, which one of my team members replies to this kind of question from my clients, okay? When you reach that spot, which we're at in Sage Digital, communication can get rather intricate and complicated. And so obviously that takes a little bit more skill and a little bit more of an intricate system to manage, okay? But you guys literally just don't need to worry about any of those details right now, because you just need to know the lean communication structure. And I go as far as to say, having that advanced communications knowledge and management knowledge will probably do more harm than good for you at this point, just because you don't need to worry about all of those intricate details. You just need to know how to communicate very streamlined with your first couple of clients, okay? Once you go past that, once you scale past that point and you're working with perhaps 8 or 10 big clients and you have your first 2 team members, well, then of course we cover how to set up, the proper communication structures for that more advanced setup inside of Pro. But for now, let's break down exactly how to streamline your communications with your first couple of clients and waste no time in any aspect of the process, okay? So yeah, guys, client communications, okay? Now, one of the most common questions that'll pop up in your mind is, well, how much do we communicate with our clients? Okay, so let me give you a couple of golden rules. Firstly, we do WhatsApp status checks / communications minimum twice a week. Okay, so as you would have known by now, and as we'll break down a little bit more in this module, the majority of our communications with our clients actually is just on WhatsApp. Okay, now back in the days, we'd use more, feature-rich programs such as Slack, and a lot of just social media marketing experts will tell you need all these advanced programs to communicate with your clients. But the reality is far from that, right? You literally just need something as simple as WhatsApp. Why? Well, because everyone has it. Right? So anytime you onboard a new client, you can pretty much be guaranteed that they already have WhatsApp, right? And so it's incredibly easy to just set up a group chat with you and the client, and any other contact persons there might be inside of the client's organization that also want to just track along for all the communications you have. And furthermore, if you have your own team members, which I know we're not going to cover that in this module, but further down the line, when you have your team members, you can also just add them to the WhatsApp group and organize them that way. So WhatsApp really, it's a completely free. So WhatsApp really it's a completely free tool, and it's not that complicated, but it works amazingly, and it's always so easy to onboard new clients, start communicating with them on WhatsApp. Okay, so yeah, we have our status checks / just communication with our clients minimum twice a week on WhatsApp. Okay, and so we'll go a little bit more in depth with what to say in those bi-weekly communications. Okay, then we have our Zoom meetings with our clients every 2 to 3 weeks, and more than this is really a waste. Okay, so usually, as stated, we'll have a Zoom meeting with our clients every 2 to 3 weeks. Okay, on average, this is twice a month. Okay, so every 2 weeks. With some clients, especially those that we've been working with for 6+ months, well, we often only have our meetings every 3 weeks, okay? But there's at least 1 meeting per month, okay? And so, yeah, essentially these Zoom meetings are just to break down our future strategies, how it's been going since our last status meeting, and just making sure that everything's okay with the client, just keeping that client relationship and that bond really strong. And again, just presenting what we're planning to do in the upcoming weeks for the client. Next point here is to strive to stay away from emails. Okay, they're time consuming and way too formal. Okay, so literally all the communication that you'll be doing through email, you can do through WhatsApp. Okay, in the beginning stages of Stage Digital, with my first 3-4 clients, I was doing a lot of the communication through email, right? And there's just so much wasted time that goes into this. Email signatures, best regards, standard stage, all of these, dear client name, all of these formalities that go into sending emails, they're just completely irrelevant, right? So you want to strive to just stay away from emails as soon as you've signed a client, get them onto a WhatsApp group and skip all the formalities and just have that instant messaging communication. It's so much easier. Then make your available hours and your amount of time very clear to the client. We've talked about this previously, but again, make it very clear to the client from the get-go when they'll be able to reach you. Okay, so I like to tell my clients that they can reach me on Saturdays and Sundays. Okay, so they can reach me during the weekends. That's kind of just my time of peace, right? I don't want a client texting me on a Saturday or on a Sunday, oh, what's our strategy in the next 3 weeks, or how were our results in the previous week, right? I don't even want to hear from my clients during the weekend. That's kind of just my zen area where I get to just kick back, relax, and not think about my agency. And then of course, Monday through Friday, I'll be replying to all their messages and also being proactive and sending them messages myself, right? So the only reason you can justify saying to your client that you don't want them to ask for the results on a Saturday is by providing them those results on a Thursday or a Friday, right? Being very proactive with your communication during the weekdays so that you can just have peace during the weekends. That's how I like to do it. You have to figure out what works for you. No matter what you figure out, just make it clear to the client from the get-go of the client relationship, of the cooperation, and just really stress the importance of them respecting those boundaries and thresholds, right? Then, guys, the faster you reply, the better. Okay, clients love participation. Okay, now I have seen a couple of agency owners thinking it's smart to have this kind of scarcity mentality in terms of only replying to your clients 24 hours after they've sent you a message, or just being a little bit exclusive with your communication. This is literally the furthest thing from the truth. Like, this is a really, really poor strategy in terms of maintaining your clients. Okay, the faster you reply, the better. Clients, they just love proactivity and participation. Okay, and I know this from myself, working with team members and hiring contractors throughout the past 3 years, just working with a bunch of different people across various industries. When it comes to business, the faster people reply, the better, and the more likely I am to continue that cooperation. Okay, whereas if I see 24 to 48 hour response times, I'm very likely to just cancel that cooperation quite quickly. Okay, because I don't like waiting for replies in terms of business. Okay, of course I respect time zones and I respect weekends, right? But during working hours and weekdays, I respect quite quick answers. Okay, and that's just because we like to move forward, and your clients will feel the same. We like to move. And if you take 24 or 48 hours to respond to your client's message, you'll likely lose them quite quickly. Okay, so moving on here, of course, as you know by now, the 3 golden pillars of communication are WhatsApp, Calendly, which we use to schedule our Zoom meetings, and Zoom for video meetings that we host every 2 to 3 weeks. Okay, now just to quickly break down how we schedule meetings with our clients and what our preferred way of doing this is. Okay, you have 2 options. You can either send the link to your scheduling page to your client through your WhatsApp group chat, or you can invite your clients directly through their email in your calendar. Okay, now point number 2, inviting your clients directly through their email inside of your calendar. I showed you guys how to do that in the preparation phase of the meeting phase, right? In the preparation module of the meeting phase. Okay, so you guys would already know how to do that. But essentially, the way I actually prefer to do it is just grab the link from my Calendly scheduling page, right? So as you'll see here, we have this is the SD client strategy meeting, 30 to 60 minute scheduled strategy meetings for existing clients of Stage Digital. Please locate a time slot that suits your calendar and lock it in. We're looking forward to talking again. So I actually just like to send a link to the scheduling page to my clients when it's about time that we have our meeting, or even just after a meeting, right? I can already send out the link after a meeting and say you can already book in a time slot for our next meeting in 2-3 weeks in a time slot that fits you. Okay, so really just being proactive with that is a good idea, because if you're not proactive, what will happen is your client will ask you, when is our next meeting? Can you do a meeting this Friday? And then in the end, you'll have to invite them through their email, and it just takes longer time. Whereas if you're being proactive and saying, look, we think we should have a meeting in a week's time, and then just sending the link and saying, can you please pick a time slot that suits you? And then we'll have the meeting there. That's the best way to do it. Okay, moving on. what do we write to our clients on a weekly basis, right? So I recommended that, you write with your clients on WhatsApp at least twice a week, right? So what do we actually write when we write? Is it just, how are you doing, or are things okay? No, it's not, right? So key communication touch points are starting off the week positive and presenting the strategy. This is something I really like to do. Okay, so on a Monday, preferably on a Monday, you could even do it on a Tuesday, just text your clients and say, hope you're starting off the week strong. We're pumped to deliver great results this week. What we saw last week is that this particular type of content worked incredibly well, or we had a lot of success targeting this group. And so in the upcoming week, this is what we'll aim to do for you. Okay, just starting off the week on that really positive note is such a great thing, and it really builds that bond between you and the client, and they'll really just look forward to receiving that. Subconsciously, they'll really just be looking forward to that message from you every single Monday, where you just give them those positive vibes and tell them what's about to happen in this upcoming week. Okay, it's really good to just keep your client updated like that. Okay. Now you can do additional messages on days where the ROAS is looking extra good. Okay, so this one is absolutely key, and you're making a big mistake if you're not communicating this to your clients. Okay, so when you've been running ads for your clients for a couple of weeks or even a couple of months, just letting them know on a day where the ROAS is particularly good, right? So you could have an average ROAS of, let's say, 3.5 or even 2.5. And then on one day, the ROAS spikes maybe by 1 or 2 points. That will happen quite frequently. Always tell your clients that, right? It's always nice for a client to hear that, oh, today we actually quadrupled your money, right? Or today we actually 5-doubled your money. Just tell them when the ROAS is looking particularly good, because that's just a good excuse or just a good reason to have a touch point with your client and to get into communication and strengthen that bond between you and the client. Okay, then a touch of humor is not forbidden. It's actually a very good idea. Okay, so some agency owners seem to have this notion that implementing any humor or having any kind of fun with your clients is a bad idea. You should keep it all formal and just strict and wear a suit. You know what I mean in terms of communicating with your clients. That's the furthest thing from the truth. In the day and age that we live in today, it's a really good idea to just have a little bit of humor with your clients. You can even put in some smileys in there. I don't like to use the emojis. I just like to use the colon and the parenthesis, the old-fashioned smiley. Just a little bit of positivity and humor in there doesn't hurt. Now, of course, you have to analyze the individual situation and the individual that your client is and what kind of communication strikes well with them. So always be wary. And if you can tell that you're working with a rather old-fashioned client that doesn't want humor, then stray away from it. But generally, just having a little bit of humor and just positive vibes in there in general is a very, very good idea. Okay, and then this is another message that I really like to send, which I already briefly mentioned. Just saying it's time for our next meeting soon. Be proactive, and it's always best to suggest this first. Okay, so as I mentioned, don't wait for your client to ask, oh, when are we gonna have your next meeting? That's just a negative notion throughout. The client can feel it, you can feel it. It's always a negative thing if your client has to ask you, oh, when are we having our next meeting, right? It's much better if you're being proactive and saying, oh, it's been 2 weeks since our last meetings, or it's been a week and a half since our last meeting. We think we should have a meeting in the upcoming week. Send them your calendar link and say, please lock in a spot that suits your calendar, and we're looking forward to talking. Okay, that's 5 times better than waiting for your client to ask when we're gonna have the next meeting. Just again, strengthens the bond and ensures your client that you're ambitious about seeing them grow and that you're actually enjoying this cooperation, right? You really have to show your client that. Okay, so guys, that's it. That's how you communicate with your clients in a streamlined and lean agency. That's all you need to communicate with your clients up to that 5 to 10 client mark. Okay, now as I said, as soon as you're hitting 10 clients, or as soon as these clients are bigger clients in whose organizations you have maybe 2 or 3 touch points or contact persons that you're communicating with, and you have a couple of team members to administrate and organize across those clients and accounts, that's more intricate, that's more complicated. We covered those structures in great detail inside of Pro, but for now, for your first couple of clients, getting to that 15K mark, this is literally all you need to have streamlined communication processes set in stone with your clients. Okay, so that's going to be it for this module, and I'm sincerely looking forward to seeing you in the next one.